What? What?
You what?
If you're not paying attention to San Diego Comic-Con, they made some announcements today, brought out some cast members of some movies that we expected. Then they brought out the Russo brothers and announced 2 more Avengers movies, the same 2 movies that we've known about for quite some time. But they're not doing the Kang thing anymore. That's overdone with. What they quote-unquote are doing, and I use that term loosely because we've heard this 1,000 times before and it never happens, they're doing Avengers Doomsday in 2026 and Avengers Secret Wars in 2027. That is insane. But what's even more insane, not was that the Russo brothers is directing these 2 movies because I figured that was going to happen after that rumor. I said, oh, it's like the thing to do, right? You bring back the guys that are proven to be successful, and the Russo brothers, they've not really been that successful outside of Marvel. Sorry, Russo brothers fans, but it's true. And inevitably, that's going to piss off half of film Twitter. They're like, you're going back to the well. And yeah, I mean, I get it, right? They're going back to what feels familiar, that is the Russo brothers, but are they going to take that a step further? Well, one announcement we did get, and one that I think is really cool, is that the Fantastic Four are going to be in both movies, probably headline Doomsday, because Dr. Doom, Fantastic Four, well, that just makes sense, even though this is not going to be the same version of that we've seen before. But inevitably, we got the announcement. That guy. That guy. Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU, not to play the corpse of Tony Stark, but to play Dr. Doom. What version? From what world? From what other universe? I don't know. And for those that are sick of the multiverse, and we know there's a lot of you out there, I, myself, have gotten sick of certain things that they've done with the multiverse, not counting Deadpool and Wolverine. I love that movie. There are numerous videos on my channel that prove I love that film, but what we got is an announcement that Robert Downey Jr. is returning. Now, we know it's going to be a variant of some sort, but here's what I'm confused about, right? We've never had a Doctor Doom in this universe. We've had other versions. We've had the classic Fantastic Four Doctor Doom matchup. Then we tried to do it again in 2015. It didn't work. But now, we don't have a pre-established Doctor Doom. So is he a Doom variant, a Tony Stark variant? We don't know the context of what this is yet. We know he's a variant of some sort, because we're not just going to get a guy that looks like Tony Stark fighting Spider-Man in Secret Wars and Peter Parker somehow doesn't recognize him. No, he's going to say, you look like Tony Stark. Are you him, or are you this other... I mean, it has to be a Tony Stark variant, right? He has to be. So Tony Stark becomes Doctor Doom in this other universe. That has to be it. It can't be Victor Von Doom, or can it? My brain hurts. Hardcore comic book fans. We know there are storylines that have Iron Man and Doctor Doom pitted against each other like they are the ultimate rivals, not Doom and Fantastic Four. Okay, we've seen that. But have we ever seen anything like this specifically? Or is this just Marvel pivoting from Kang and saying, we need something bigger and better and crazier, so we're going to make this happen. We're going to make this variant. And I do think this can cause some really nice emotional moments in context, speaking of Peter Parker, when he actually sees this alternate version, the emotions that are going to go through his head. But my fear is Marvel pivoted and they haven't fully scoped this out, planned this out, but they said, hey, we need Robert Downey Jr. back. Let's give him all the money for him to return as this character. And now, what are we going to do? And so I hope they've figured out what they're going to do. If they do it in a way that makes sense, the fans will be fine. But right now, I don't think people are going to be fine.
Well, then everyone loses their minds.
Look, Marvel's in a place right now, and I hate saying they're desperate after Deadpool and Wolverine just broke all kinds of box office records, okay? So clearly, they're doing fine. But if you think about what's been happening, Deadpool and Wolverine made more money in one weekend than Captain Marvel or the Marvels made in its entire run. They've been struggling as of late, so they had to pull something out of their back pocket now that Kang is not a thing. I'm going to keep saying that anymore. What are they going to do? This is the biggest possible thing they could have done. Love it or hate it, and I know a lot of people hate it. I'm reading Twitter right now, and people are devastated. I get it. I really do, because it is a desperation move. But here's where my head's at right now. If they do it in a way that makes sense and actually provides some amazing moments. I mean, imagine Thor and Spider-Man and some of the heroes that fought in Avengers Endgame going up against this version of Doctor Doom, knowing all of them, that sure does look like Tony Stark. That guy's dead. What are we fighting? And so that's going to make for some interesting moments. But to make it worth all of this, bringing back, and I don't want it to tarnish the legacy of Tony Stark, because he died a hero, we know that, but it was the ultimate sacrifice, and Avengers Endgame was the ultimate satisfaction. That's why so many people have said it should have ended with Endgame, even though we've gotten some amazing projects since then. But there is a possibility that this tarnishes the legacy of Tony Stark, and that scares me, man. And that's why I'm hesitant with this news. I love the announcement. There's something about seeing fans freaking out in Hall H that gets my blood pumping, gets my body going, all right? But the fear that this is, and we know it's a move out of desperation, we get that. That's obvious. There's no need to argue that, because that is the case. But is it a move that they've thought out well enough to make it make sense? I love the idea of pushing this story forward and moving on to new things. I think that's awesome. Granted, they have tried to do that as of late, and it hasn't really worked out for them. But they've also tried to do it in a way that's felt a little lazy, and maybe they're taking too many strange risks when they need to focus more on what the fans want to see. And maybe this is what they thought the fans want to see. I think a lot of fans do want to see this. They are excited about this. There's something else in my brain saying, well, it would have been cool to see a new actor get to take on Victor Von Doom, like a new actor, not a Robert Downey Jr. as Von Doom. That's new, right? But someone who hasn't played a superhero before. I think that would have been cool. Granted, we've seen it 2 times, and it hasn't really worked 2 times, even though I have nostalgia for the Tim Story movies. But you look at what this allows Robert Downey Jr. to do, that's kind of exciting. I mean, the guy has range. He just won an Oscar. It is funny that he's going from winning an Oscar back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just think of some of the people I follow on Twitter and how this is going to just devastate them. It's going to devastate them. And I'm so I don't know how to feel right now. I'm just going to look at both sides and laugh, because it's all kind of funny to me, the chaos that this is going to cause. It's just, am I maniacal? I don't. Bright side. Let's look at the bright side. We've never really seen a great Doctor Doom on screen. Again, I have nostalgia for the Tim Story movies. That version of Doctor Doom could have been cool. There are moments where he is cool, but it's the cheesiest damn version of Doctor Doom I've ever seen in my life. The dialogue is terrible. Remember, Robert Downey Jr. is an amazing actor. He's going to bring range to this character. But again, there are so many negatives that are floating around in my head, like this could be a disaster. This is clearly stunt casting. Like, that's absolutely what they're doing right now. My fear is that they don't have the story to make this feel worth it. There is a world where this is awesome. There is a world, if the MCU wasn't in such a desperate state right now and everything was going swimmingly and they announced this, people would be on board. We just know where they are. We know where it has been. Not necessarily at the moment, because Deadpool and Wolverine is crushing. I mean, with audiences, with most critics, not with film Twitter. It's funny because film Twitter, everything's a big deal on film Twitter, and then you look outside of that bubble and everyone's cool about it. Like, everyone's cool with Deadpool and Wolverine. Everyone's cool. They're going to be, my friends are going to be texting me about this. I've already got friends texting me, not inside that bubble, and they're saying, oh, dude, Robert Downey Jr.'s back. That's who they're aiming for. They're aiming for my friends that will not show up to a Marvel movie right now unless it's a Deadpool and Wolverine, unless it's something that actually looks exciting. That's who they're aiming for, because they're excited about this. I've had 3 texts already tonight. People not in the film Twitter bubble. They watch 5 or 6 movies of the year. That's who Marvel's aiming for right now. Love the decision, hate the decision. It's here. That's the decision. And so we're going to have to deal with it and just cross our fingers and pray that they have the story here, that they have it all. They have a plan. They have it mapped out, and it's going to tie in together beautifully. And it's not going to destroy the legacy of Tony Stark, because that's my fear. But if they don't do that, and he does it justice, we know he'll do it justice. It's the writing. Robert Downey Jr. is going to crush this. Don't argue me that. You will not argue me that. You will lose that argument every day of the week. Robert Downey Jr. is going to crush this. Will the writing allow it to work? Will the writing be what elevates this to the next level? I don't know. And now we have a Fantastic Four from a different universe. Maybe he's the Doom in their universe again. It just makes more sense that he's a variant of Tony Stark that ended up going evil instead of being good. He turns into Victor Von Doom. I feel like it has to be a variant of Tony Stark and not Victor Von Doom. That's what it has to be. But again, I don't know, man. I'm just some crazy guy on the internet. I'm dressed like a loser because I just got back from a wedding. And I thought I was going to get to sleep. My wife made tomato soup, and I'm not up there enjoying her delicious tomato. It's actually a bisque. It's not a soup. The announcement was great. The reaction to Hall H was amazing. I love seeing Robert Downey Jr. happy. He's probably making a buttload of money right now, so he's very happy. I just all the fear in my head right now, it's lingering, and I don't know how to feel about it. So, at least they made a splash. They got people talking. They got my friends texting. That's what they wanted to do. That's kind of what they needed to do. But they're making $200 million this weekend with Deadpool and Wolverine. So what do I know? We're going to do a live stream tomorrow. I'll talk about this. All my Deadpool Wolverine coverage is on my channel. And we're going to do a movie mode episode and react to this crazy news that I need a day or two or three to think about. All right, I'm out of breath. I'm going to go eat some tomato bisque. I'll see you soon.